Hi everyone, and welcome to LayerX Now. This is our very first episode in English, so thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host today. My name is Ryu, and I am the head of the AI and LLM department at LayerX. For those of you who may not be familiar with LayerX, let me give you a quick introduction. LayerX is a Tokyo-based AI and fintech startup founded in 2018. We currently operate three main businesses. First, we have Bakuraku, a business spend management SaaS platform that helps companies streamline their expenses and operations. Second, we run a joint venture with a major financial institutions focusing on asset management. And third, which is the main topic of today's episode, is our AI and LLM business. In this space, we provide an enterprise-grade AI platform called AI Workforce, which has already been adopted by some of Japan's leading companies, including MUFG and Mitsui. Today, we have two amazing guests from our team, Isami and Tim. Let's start with a quick introduction from each of them. Isami, would you like to go first?
Yes. Hi everyone. My name is Isami. I'm the tech leader at LayerX. I started my career as a software engineer in 2012. In 2019, I moved to Vancouver and worked as a founding engineer at a SF-based D2C startup. Later, I founded a startup in San Francisco, raised $1 million, and developed SaaS for the logistics industry.
Cool. And you said ramen, right?
Yeah.
So you're a ramen expert.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the best ramen place in Tokyo?
Ramen? Maybe Yamaokaya?
I don't know. Yamaokaya?
Yeah.
By the way, why are you called Isami?
Isami is a Japanese restaurant in Vancouver. I used to go there.
Cool. Thank you. Tim, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Tim Mansfield, and I've been doing different kinds of software engineering for a long time, really since the original dot-com boom long ago. I've worked as a tech lead at Google and YouTube a long time ago, and I've been at many startups since then in different verticals, ranging from fintech to edtech, green tech, and construction software, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it's been a really interesting run. And I have moved to Japan as of about a year ago, and I had been in Japan a long time ago as well. But now that I've moved here, I have wanted to work with a Japanese company. So yeah, that kind of brings me to here to this podcast.
Thank you. So, you were at the YouTube in its early days.
Yeah, that's right. Not the very, very earliest days, but after it was acquired by Google, I joined that team.
Did you expect, YouTube to become such a huge platform?
Oh, well, it was pretty hot as of the time of acquisition, as you can imagine, which is why it was acquired. So honestly, I'd barely even heard of it before that because there were other video startups at that time, and I wasn't involved in video at all. But yeah, having joined that team post-acquisition by Google, it was really cool to see that space.
I see. So I know you speak Japanese very well. Would you mind speaking a little Japanese right now?
Just about what?
What's your favorite place in Nakameguro?
My favorite place? Oh, you mean like the ramen question? Yeah, sure. Let's see. 中目黒周辺ってもう、山ほどいいところってありまして、 そうですね。実は、まあ、さっきのイサミさんの、おすすめ、ほどでは全然ないと思いますが、チェーン店のオレ流ラーメンは、私の好みです。駅のすぐそこにありますね。で、あと、フランス料理は意外といいところがあります。はい。また、駅周辺です。Hinge っていうビストロなんです。Yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually recommended to me by Parisians who said that it was as good as anything they had in Paris. So that was a pretty strong recommendation, and it is very good.
Isami-san, what's your expert opinion on Orelu ramen?
It's okay.
普通。
普通。
Awesome. Thank you. So let's start our conversation with a simple question. Why did you decide to join LayerX? Team, could you go first?
Oh, yeah, sure. So I mentioned that I moved here uh, only a year ago, but I do intend to stay here for a long time. My wife is Japanese. I have two young children. The older one is about to turn 5, and she speaks Japanese and English, fluently on both sides. And we intend to be here for a long time. As such, I would like to contribute to the ongoing stability of the Japanese economy. And, Japanese society is famous for being safe and, all this stuff. It's great. But of course, the nice features come at a cost. And I think it's important that Japanese business is able to support through, profits and taxes paid on profits is able to support that the economy and the society that I want to be in. So that's kind of like a real high level thing. And then otherwise, LayerX specifically, I really like the global expansion strategy. I think a lot of Japanese companies they have dreams of going global, but it's really hard to do that actually.
Yeah.
For a typical Japanese company, and LayerX has a very good strategy for doing that, which I don't know if we want to get into what that is, but it has one that I believe is actually viable.
Yeah, so it's considered to be hard for especially startups. So let me explain a bit on the global expansion strategy you mentioned. First of all, expanding AI workforce globally has been our dream. And since many of our customers are large enterprise in Japan with global operations, so we have already started providing AI workforce to their overseas branches. So building on that track record, we are now preparing to launch our sales and marketing efforts globally. So
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense than just with no particular sort of advantage, local advantage, just trying to opening up an office in San Francisco and then just going for it. That's
yeah,
probably not as good of a strategy.
right. Thank you. How about you, Isami?
So yeah, it's kind of same, but yeah. My plan was going to the San Francisco to continue my previous setup.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, because I already have the H-1B visa to work in the States. Yeah, but the the setup is difficult, so we didn't have clients. But I wanted to develop something using AI LLM, but we didn't have just clients. So and I met Matsumoto-san, CDO of of LayerX, and he mentioned LayerX is going to expand.
Yeah.
So I was really excited. So I decided to come back to Japan. Yeah, because there are many good restaurants, ramen restaurants.
Came back to ramen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
ramen inspired you to work on AI and make you to move Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, my goal is I want to work on the Japanese product. So I want Japanese product, make Japanese product global. So I wanted to join the team. That's why I joined.
Yeah, I think, many people in my team had a similar reason to, come to LayerX. They have spent a lot of time to work on foreign product, but they, at the end of the day, try to do something like, Japanese focused software.
Yeah. Also, I think in particular, so LM has many potential. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. So now, both of you started to work in LayerX this winter, I think. So what is your first impression of LayerX, especially in terms of culture and technology? Tim, could you go first?
Yeah. So I've talked about this before in another context, but as I mentioned, I've been at a lot of different startups and bigger companies too, not just Google. And so I've seen many different approaches to managing development at different stages of the growth life cycle. And I would say that in honesty, what I've seen so far for where the AI LLM business unit, or I guess it's a kind of a company within the group, within LayerX, where it's at, it seems perfectly normal to me for this stage of growth. And so there's always a balance between trying to move quickly and prototype and get things out there and sort of approach things with a lean startup approach or whatever, so that you get validation from contact with reality as quickly as possible. So there's all that. But then, this is actually serving some really big customers. Some of the biggest companies in Japan are using LayerX's software. And so you have to kind of balance the move fast and break things, so to speak, with not actually breaking things. So that's a difficult balance to strike. And I think, LayerX has been doing fine as far as I can tell. I mean, I haven't been here for very long, as you just mentioned. So I'm still, I think, getting used to everything. And this is also the first Japanese company that I've joined. So, there's also that. But yeah, it's been a great learning experience so far.
So we sometimes talk about the stereotype of Japanese software company. So what is the definition of stereotype of Japanese software company, and what do you think the difference between us and them?
Yeah. Well, the ultimate stereotype of a Japanese company is the all the so-called like SIR, kind of companies, the system integrators, where it's like they originally were part of the big company groups that themselves used to be Zaibatsu or something. And so they were there's these ecosystems where Japanese software companies are kind of protected from too much competition because they end up serving the other group companies, and so they have automatic business. That whole thing, that phenomenon, I think, really stifled Japanese software development. That's not the whole picture because there's amazing stuff going on in other areas. Japan's like famous for cutting edge gaming and so on and so forth. Lots of different areas. But when it comes to regular retail software development, I think that whole SIR thing really pulled Japan back. So yeah, by contrast with that, of course, it's not just LayerX, there are many companies in Japan that aim consciously to have a modern approach to things and not like that, the opposite of that. And LayerX is definitely one of them. So yeah, that's how I think I would put the contrast is SIR on the one end of the spectrum, and then really being essentially the same as American or European startups on the other end of the spectrum, and LayerX is on that end.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think we can learn a lot from SIR as well. but we have to, be different from them as well.
Yeah, I don't honestly, I don't know much about it. It's just reputation and rumor, and so forth. So yeah, I've never worked for or with those companies, so I could be completely wrong. So I don't mean to badmouth people who are probably working very hard and are just as smart as anybody else. There's just something systemic about that part of Japanese software industry that I've heard is yeah, is maybe slower to adopt things, and it's kind of harder to work with somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Isami, you started your career in Japanese large internet companies.
Yes.
From that experience, what is your first impression with LayerX?
Yes. I feel it's kind of flexible. Yeah, also, yeah, I feel that we want to improve our product. So we focus on product and clients, customers. Maybe that's the difference between their first company and LayerX.
Focusing on client
Yeah.
and product. Sometimes Japanese, internet company driven by sales department.
Yes, revenue.
Yeah. I think that part of the reason why it is leadership of LayerX is mostly their background is engineering.
Oh, it's like Google, right?
Yeah, that's right. The leaders were generally engineers. A couple of exceptions, but it's very engineering at its core. So, for example, on the YouTube team that I was the tech lead of, we had 15 engineers, and we only had part of a product manager, like one, and basically we made the decisions for what to do with some oversight from the product management team, but they were very, very small in ratio to all the engineers. So I would say that there's something similar at especially the earlier part of the AI LLM business. Wouldn't you say that's true, Nakamoto-san?
Yeah. So what do you think is the actual effect of having an engineer in the leadership team? People say, it is a good thing, but there's less discussion about why it is.
Well, it's not perfect. It's probably better to have, if you have enough good people at the very beginning of a startup, then it's good to have a mix. But yeah, I guess one thing is we could say is, and of course we're biased because the three of us are all engineers, so we're patting ourselves on the back.
Yeah.
But having a very systematic approach, I think, that's one plus, I think, and generally being, quasi-scientific approach means that you're often looking to falsify your own, you're looking to challenge your own statements and other people's statements. And so that can be a little bit annoying going back and forth and challenging each other like that. But I think we are seeking a lot of the time, if we're good, we're not just trying to get our own way, but we're trying to really find optimal solutions. So that's kind of like the engineering approach to things. And you have to make a lot of trade-offs too, I would say as well. You know what I mean? It's not like pure research in that way. Like you have to deal with constraints. And so we're pretty good at dealing with that. So it kind of maps well to a business space as well.
Cool. Yeah. So before we move on to the next topic, we have a big announcement. So actually, the very reason we are recording this episode in English is because we recently started hiring English-speaking team members. Yay!
Yes.
So this is a big shift for us. We have decided to open up engineering positions to candidates who don't speak Japanese. The goal isn't just to strengthen our development team, but also to lay the foundation for the future global expansion of our business, as I explained. So it's a bold step for Japanese startup. So I'm super excited about it. So Isami, you are the one who advanced this shift in my team. What's your thoughts on this change?
I'm really excited about it. Yeah. Also, yeah, I think it's really difficult decision because Japanese speaks only Japanese, right? So
Yeah.
there is a huge language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we need to update many things. For example, document,
Yeah.
meeting or something. Yeah.
So that's what, I'm curious on the current situation of engineering team. Tim, how English and Japanese are used in our team right now?
Yeah, so I would say that the ratio of language use is pretty dependent on the context. So, of course, each person has a different mix of, skill levels or comfort levels when it comes to speaking, reading, writing, and listening. And I think in my experience so far, the team members vary, but generally hearing and reading are pretty good. And then the speaking part is a little bit harder, depending on the person. And then writing is sort of in between. But depending on who the participants are, I have not found any real difficulties because we can accommodate each other with different tools and different techniques for making that accommodation. It's worked out fine so far.
I see most of the Japanese member talk to you in Japanese, but you talk to them in English.
Yeah, I'll speak in a mix of Japanese and English. I'm definitely, obviously, way more comfortable reading, writing, and speaking English. My listening of Japanese is pretty good. So it's similar to, you guys, when you hear English, you're very good. But then when I try to speak, it's just way slower and roundabout, like Mawari Kudoi. Compared to you guys. I mean, I'm just blown away at how brilliant and fast and precise you guys are at communicating. And it's not just the fact that it's your native language. I think there's a different approach to communication, and you guys have some ways that I can describe later or whatever if it matters. But yeah, it's pretty good stuff. So yeah. Anyway, we find ways to get around the language barrier that Isami-san you were talking about. However, it admittedly, depending on the communication route, it does slow things down a little bit. But I think there's enough gain to be had that it makes it worth it. Yeah. So, for example, we use a lot of AI support.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of processing time to applying the AI support, so that slows down document creation a little bit. But yeah.
We added a translation bot in our Slack. What is it called? Lingnavex
or something? Lingnavex. Yeah.
I think that is so cool.
Yeah. We I think it was Inao-san that investigated that and brought it in. So one of the product managers brought that in. And so a few different people have been exploring different ways to make it easier. So it's not all on, for example, all on me or all on Isami-san or whatever to figure it all out. So the whole team is trying to make it easier and accommodate. So I appreciate that as the first native English speaker, I think, on this team. Yeah, and we also, I mentioned it, the AI support in Notion. We use Notion AI. This is actually Isami-san's contribution. He figured out that we could use that to automatically create dual language versions of our documents. So you can just drag select some text and run an AI prompt on it, and it will create side-by-side translations, which makes it really easy for either party to skim and pick up the gist so that we can make intelligent comments about it without, that extra overhead of having to run the translation yourself over and over and over. Yeah. Yeah, and just to throw out one more thing, let's see, Waimatsu-san, he invested in a Japanese startup that has some pretty amazingly fast real-time translation technology. So I installed that on my phone as well, and it really is incredibly good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they get acquired like next week.
Yeah, maybe we can use that in our next offsite, For documents, it's easy to have both. But for presentation, you have to pick either Japanese or English in general. So
Right. Yeah.
Yep. So now let's talk about timing. I want to ask both of you what's exciting or interesting about joining, the AI space or LayerX division right now. How about you, Isami?
Yeah, maybe the answer is just AI is hot topic. It's really fun to develop also. Yeah, I think many engineers want to involve in developing AI service.
So you're a leader of our Agentic workflow project. I think that is, huge thing in my team. And, in 2 years later, the ideal architecture answer will be, there in next 2 years. But right now, everyone in the world struggling what is agentic workflow. So you are one of that.
Yeah, it's interesting to create something without answer.
Yeah.
So we're creating a new thing. Yeah.
What is a challenge to work on agentic workflow?
The challenge is maybe, there nobody has answers.
Yeah.
To develop a right way.
So Tim, you are also working on agentic workflow.
That's right.
So based on your long experience in engineering, what is your new challenge and things you think is not challenge?
Yeah, well, to begin with the not challenge part, there's something that's kind of funny about agents, which is that in a sense, they're as software components, they're actually extremely simple things.
Yeah.
Right? We all know what I mean by that, and I think anyone who's listening to this probably also knows what I mean. But that's kind of funny because it's like, oh, agentic, blah blah blah, but the real crazy magic stuff is happening back in the LLMs, whereas the agent part is like, in and of itself, it's simpler. However, when you make an agentic workflow, the agentic part, it starts to get more and more rapidly become more and more interesting because there's kind of a different style of building that you have to embrace. It's the pro and con of having the probabilistic, like non-determinism of an LLM based processing flow. It allows you to do things that are not possible any other way, really. But of course, you have to accept the uncertainties that come with it and the only partial reliability. But what we're thinking about now, internal to our work on the platform that Isami-san and I are working on together, is ways in which we can eventually build self-healing workflows where you have problems arise. And you can see this in GPT or whatever, like especially if you use a coding support, if you use it for coding support in the context of like Cursor IDE or something like that. But you can see even in regular GPT, it will try to make something for you, and then it will look at it and without any prompting from you, further prompting from you, it will try to fix problems that it perceives. And that's unusual for systems. Like usually you have to, as a programmer, as we have to manually put in all sorts of checks and retries and things like that. This is an interesting way to build where, eventually the systems become more and more reliable, ironically, even though they start from a place of unreliability.
Do you think we are reinventing many things in AI? Because apparently concepts like agents or workflow engines existed before.
Yeah, I think it's probably less at the level of individual pieces of software, just like software components that themselves are amazing. But as we were alluding to before, even if one agent by itself is a relatively simple software component, in concert with all the rest of the software components, there's almost endless complexity that we can build up. And in a way, this is maybe a strange abstract thing to say, but when you think about how much of what we're able to do as humans is itself built on language, and language itself is this endlessly recursive thing, right? So when we when we introduce system components that are themselves language aware and built around language, then you can start to build endlessly recursive solutions in the same way that human cognition is able to support endless problem solving. So it's really exciting, to be honest. I'm just thrilled to be working on this kind of stuff.
Right, cool. So what's your challenge part?
What's my what, sorry?
Challenge. What is the challenge?
The challenge? Oh, the challenge is to make it all work because we're currently early in that curve. So we get lots of the unreliability and not much of the self-healing yet. So our goal is to push as fast as possible to where we have the sort of amazing emergent properties of agentic systems. But right now we're still working out lots of basic stuff, which honestly, as Isami-san mentioned earlier, and we've heard from other people who are very well positioned in the industry to talk about this stuff, everyone's wrestling with the same problems of quality control, reliability, this and that. So it's not to say that we have this horribly unreliable system. It's not that bad, but it's also not up to our normal levels of, customers expect extreme reliability from modern platforms, and we're working on that actively. So that's the challenge.
Yeah, we have many discussions in the whiteboard recently.
Yeah, we have lots of crazy whiteboards.
Yeah. I think you spend most of your day in front of whiteboard discussing with other people, writing some crazy graphs.
Recently, there's been a lot of whiteboarding, yeah, but it's actually been very fruitful. Yeah, Isami-san flew down from Hokkaido again, and we had a great time.
Go twice in a month recently. Yep. So looking ahead, what do you personally want to do at LayerX in the future, like in 2 or 3 years? How about your team?
Oh, well, I think it's an extension of what we've been talking about. So the two threads are, three threads is that I think we're all excited about the possibility of, this LLM flavor of AI mixed together with other more traditional flavors of AI. And the possibilities of that are, they're huge. So that's exciting. And then merging that with the ample opportunities in Japan itself, which, is on the leading edge of, demographic challenges and other things that, make it this test bed for how will we as, or all around the world, how will society deal with, what's going on demographically, and AI is definitely going to be a part of that. So I'm excited about that. in the broad sense. And then we've talked about earlier about expanding internationally, and the prospects for that seem very realistic. So I'm looking forward to contributing in that area as well. So yeah, I think the confluence of those things at a company that's proven that it can execute, I think is yeah, pretty enticing. So that's what the near to medium term looks like for me.
Right. In terms of global expansion, which country are you interested in other than the US and Japan?
Oh,
For me-
other than the US?
For me, it's like Germany or Singapore.
Huh. I'm very US centric because I'm American. So I honestly hadn't thought too much about where else. It's just such a huge market. But yeah, I mean, tell me more why Singapore and Germany? Why those two?
Germany for, manufacturing and Singapore for finance.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Isami-san, are you looking at Canada again?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
I've never been to Canada, honestly, so I don't know much about industry there.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel Canada is almost America. Yeah.
Near to the US.
Well, don't tell that to Canadians.
I know.
You up. Yeah. But they'll be very nice about it. Yeah.
How about you, Sami? What do you want to do in the next 2 or 3 years in LayerX?
I want to LayerX continue to bet AI
Mhm.
because we
We
can
have bet AI in our philosophy. So
yes. So actually, yeah, we already can use CloudMax, or we can
Yeah. Have you
can
tried?
use
Max?
not yet, but we can use
Yeah.
many AI stuff, tooling.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's true. We're not just building AI platform, but we're doing it using AI tools, and we get to play with, well, I mean, actually used for work, but it
yeah,
feels
also we can be advanced team or sophisticated team, right?
Yeah, I actually heard from friends of mine who work with more sort of regular Japanese software companies. I heard that they don't get to use AI very much. Like they have company policies that prevent them from introducing things, and it just sounds so sad, like, to not get to use it for your work. So I'm very glad that, we're not like that. Yeah. And by the way, it's like pretty expensive. It's a considerable investment that the company puts into these tools because we're
Yeah.
using the really expensive versions of this stuff, right? As you mentioned, like max level of Claude, that's the like whoa kind of prices. So yeah, it's not a trivial thing that the company is making this investment. So I appreciate that.
So Nakamura-san, so any reason to use AI tools?
Yeah, so we think, we prioritize the performance of engineering team first. So we will spend as much money if, engineer gets happy. So this is why. So I think we published a blog post about purchasing CloudMax by BlackRock yesterday. Anyway, so yeah, we will use a lot of tool in the future. So I think we are running out of time. So I'll wrap up this episode with your message to our listeners, including potential future teammates who might be considering joining LayerX. So, Isami, your final message?
We're creating a global team, and we are creating a global product, not only Japan.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to join you. Yeah.
Yes. So, Tim, can you give us a perfect closing line?
Maybe not one line, but as you guys were talking, I've remembered something that when I was originally talking to LayerX, originally talking actually to Waimatsu-san, and he said something that I thought was really interesting, which is that he said that there may be like 20 people or so attached to the team at the time we were talking.
Yeah.
It's grown, I think it's grown since then, but 20 people at the time. And he said, we'd really like for you to join and sort of seed our internationalization, like the internationalization of the team itself, because if we become, so we're 20 Japanese people, and then if we grow to 50 Japanese people, then it'll be really hard to go back. Like we'll just be another Japanese company. So it's really important that we shift the direction and we invest like we're investing in those AI tools and anything else. This is an important investment, even though there's some overhead to it. We really, really want to absorb and join forces with international team members so that we can really realize that vision. Otherwise, it's just going to be talk, and we can put like PowerPoints and stuff and talk about it's our mission and stuff, and it's not going to be real. So again, there's actual investment in a direction that makes sense, kind of like the general growth strategy makes sense. So I think my closing line would be for anyone who's listening to this, in English, and it's your native language or whatever, if you're at all like me, then I want to invite you to have a casual conversation with us about this stuff because, I chose this place for what I think are pretty good reasons. And I think they're pretty general reasons too. I think it probably would apply to you as well. Maybe not, but maybe we could have a chat about it. So that's my closing line.
Yeah. I recently found that there are a huge international engineering community in Tokyo, but unfortunately, I think there's a little limited opportunity for them to work in Tokyo. So I want to provide more opportunities to them by LayerX. All right, thank you for listening, and don't forget to check out the next episode. See ya!